The first chef I ever worked with, let me just start there. We want to talk about humble beginnings. His name's Chef Gregory, a Jamaican chef at the Brack Reef Beach Resort. So that was the first time I ever experienced a long day of kitchen work in my life. And I just remember telling myself, I don't think I want to do this. I remember I was messing around in the freezer too, and I put my tongue on a piece of the metal. I had no idea what I was doing at that point. I was just being a child, you know? And Chef Gregory, he's like, listen, this craft, this career you want to go into, it has its opportunities to make you or break you. And you have to decide what you're going to make it do. I didn't pay attention to that, obviously, but it's still stuck in my head. My grandmother was a chef back in the day. The main reason that I idolized her isn't just because she cooked. The main reason I idolized my grandmother is because she was so selfless as a person. She raised all her grandkids, even if it was for just a little bit, but all her grandkids, she raised us all. She genuinely gave way more than she had. I really aspire to be as selfless as she is. Miss Ethel Marie Barnes is definitely the cornerstone of who I am today. I went through Hurricane Ivan like a lot of people. I lost everything the first time around. And I say that because I also experienced Hurricane Paloma and came back. Hurricane Paloma is where I think culinary arts as a profession actually rang out to me. The Ritz-Carlton and like the government, they all partnered up and they were putting together programs for all the kids to kind of give us something to do. We didn't have school or anything like that. I met a chef who actually introduced me to a knife. He held a knife and he showed it to me because I was helping out, you know, make lunch and stuff. It was one of the activities. But he held a knife and he said, one thing about a knife is that you want to remember that this is not just a tool, it's an extension of your arm. So when you hold a knife, you should always expect to use the entire blade. And I just thought that was so poetic, the way he said it and the way he did it. And watching him and all the other cooks and all the other staff from the Ritz-Carlton cook and work with us that week, it really showed me that food can actually be a career. The hurricane, you know, I think in life sometimes we look at restarts or fresh starts as bad things, but sometimes life gives you a fresh start for a reason. And the one thing I learned is that storms are gonna pass. So while I was in college, I had cooking jobs here and there. Here in Cayman, I worked at like Blue Cilantro for my internship. Before college, I did like a stint at the Marriott, and then I worked at Jimmy Buffett's. My first job out of college was at Alter. It's a restaurant that was owned by Brad Kilgore, Chef Brad Kilgore, which is hands down one of the best chefs in Miami. I had no idea what I was walking into. I knew I wanted it, but I had no idea what I was walking into. It definitely threw me in the fire, and it's the same thing everyone says, you can go to school, but you won't learn until you actually do it. I spent many nights, my first month, reconsidering if this is what I want to do. But there's something about the glory at the end of the night when your station is cleaned. There's something about looking at it before you close that door and go out that you feel like that level of satisfaction. And for the first time since I decided to venture on this path, I felt it there at Alter. I'm gonna say at least every single time in my culinary career, every Friday night, every Saturday has felt like, I don't know if I can do this. I've cried a lot of times. I have laid tears down, man, by myself and with my wife especially. That woman has definitely supported me more than I've supported myself. So COVID happened. Everyone got laid off, obviously, in the restaurant. Me, two other cooks, the chef owner, and the front of house manager, we were still cooking. We still had to take care of food and produce that were there already. You know, we still had to figure out how to get it out. So we opened up a takeout service. We completely revamped the restaurant to make it a takeout service. We survived. That was the most important thing. We survived the whole pandemic, and slowly and eventually we started hiring back people. We opened back up, but mentally I never really recovered from COVID. Physically as well. I was like a stick, you know, which led to the decision that I made that I'm done. I think I want to finish cooking completely. And so I took a sabbatical. I started studying project management. I started exploring other things, but in the meantime, I was cooking. Someone actually messaged my wife because she's also a personal chef, and asked her if she wanted to help with the dinner. She was in no position to, but she said her husband is. She's like, my husband will. I said, yeah, sure, I didn't have anything to do. So I went, and it turned out to be for Timberland. Both her and Tim, they really enjoyed my presence, how I cook, how I operate. So they wanted me to come back and cover for her for a week or so, because she was traveling between Atlanta and Miami. She decided that she wanted to move back to Atlanta. Tim really liked me, so he offered me the position to be his personal chef. And like I said, I was looking on a way out of the industry. And that moment I realized that I have something that a lot of people don't have, and I shouldn't take it for granted. I have both a passion and a skill for this, and the opportunity is presented itself to me, and I have to utilize it. So took some time to think about it, and I told him yes. So he offered me the position to be his full-time personal chef. And that's where I started to grow my company. I started taking clients on the weekends if I had opportunities to do it. And yeah, that's where I'm at right now. I just continue to grow. And I definitely owe it to my people, because it shows in the interactions that I have with people around here. In the supermarket, you see someone, you don't know their name, right? But you know this person, you still say hi regardless. You say good morning to people when you walk by them, you know? You're just polite in general. So I wish I could be like, take credit and be like, that's just who I am, but it's not just me. It's my people, the reason that I am who I am. Going on to Chop was fun. It was probably the most fun I've had in my whole entire career. It was also way out of my wheelhouse. You know, I never looked at myself as a person who wants to be on camera, who wants to compete. So saying yes to being on Chopped was massive. The casting director actually reached out to me and told me that they had this opportunity and asked me if I would like to be a part of it. I didn't know that she was real. I thought she was just spam or something. But I showed it to my wife, and she looked at it, and because she's in this world, she's like, no, that's a real person. You need to talk to them. So I said, I spoke to them. I said yes, I would love to be a part of it. The entire process was so beautiful from beginning to end. Everything's so coordinated. That experience of like, what are you gonna make with this? That feeling, the look in your eyes, all real, all authentic. The one thing I wanna say is, I was gonna fry my wontons, but someone was using the fryer. And that Cayman Islands spirit, that definitely cost me. It definitely cost me, because one of the contestants, his sauce was boiling over, and I went out of my way. I stopped, and I turned it off, and I made sure I let him know. And now I look in hindsight, I should have been a little more competitive and just let it go. It had nothing to do with me, but you know, I would do it again. If they asked me, Jordy, would you come back to Chopped? I would do it again. It was definitely something that taught me a lot about myself that I didn't know. And it put me in a space where that was like such a different challenge, and it was a challenge I enjoyed. And one of the things I really want to make happen, I want to come home. I've always wanted to be here in Cayman. I love Cayman. One of the things that I really want to focus on is putting myself in a position where I can create opportunity. Because I feel a lot of times, young Caymanians, we have the skill, we have the talent, we have the passion, you know, the drive is there, but the opportunity is missing. Or opportunity is there, but we don't have guidance or anyone to help us figure out at least how to grasp it. And I would love to be able to put myself in a position where I can help. If you want to cook professionally, especially when you're young, it doesn't mean that you can't do it when you're older, but when you're young, just do it. Find whatever opportunity you can to cook. Cook for your friends, family, work on the weekends at a restaurant for a night. Up to today, I still go into restaurants and I still go to the window and I ask chefs, you know, how'd you make that? Just go out there, get the experience. And you don't have to go to culinary school, but if you have the opportunity, take it, 100%. In general, you can't expect to become unless you do. You have to try. I think the most important thing too is just be kind. Be kind to yourself and know that everything that you're experiencing is your own unique journey.